is us getting something good out of this. All right.
So,
Well, there's more than just this room. That's,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, do you want to? I saw the guitar room. Can
Yeah,
you show
we'll
us around
kick
there?
around, and yeah, I got my own office upstairs that I do my vocal warm-ups and.
Well, let's start there then, and then we'll end up here because we're going to do our sit-down part of the interview.
Alrighty.
there. So we'll just
We'll head upstairs.
shoot on the
then.
fly.
Yeah, well, we'll head upstairs to. Whee! Oh, Wipeout.
How long have you been here?
We've been here for probably 2 years. We've rehearsed here for about 6 years. We've
And then you just bought it all, or you're still a tenant?
no, we bought it. It came with
Came
little
with the
kids
kids?
and stuff.
Hi. How many kids all together run around?
Oh, there's well, actually we got a picture of all the Metallica kids up there. I got 3. Zach, our main cat, who runs this place, he's got 3. Lars has got 2, and Bob, our producer, has 7. So
That's like the
that's a
daycare from for all time.
Yeah, it is daycare, but it's
In a good way.
oh, it's awesome. It's like it's a whole new energy for us. You know, before we used to not want any distractions or anything, but the kids offer a whole new energy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of Bum Phillips, you know, the head coach of the Oilers from the 80s. He used to have this whole thing where on Saturdays he would let all the players bring their kids for the last practice, like the walkthrough for Sunday, which no other coach in the history of the NFL would ever allow. The families and so some players that didn't have kids would bring their dogs, and they're out there running plays, and the little kids are running all over, and the dogs are running all over.
How
The
awesome.
bum is yelling, "Watch out, you're getting dog bit! Watch out for that dog over there!" And that was his theory, is that, you know, you work all week, you get yourself ready, but then that brings a whole new energy to the proceedings, and it makes the players feel comfortable on a whole other level. And instead of distracting them, it actually focuses them more on, you know, what it all means to play well, to be part of a team, to be part of a group, a little community.
Yeah, definitely community feel. You know, we've gone from kind of separatists to involving the whole family and everything. You know, I've tried to separate my lives for so long, and I'm sure athletes go through the same thing. It's, okay, Dad is going to work, and leave me alone. And some need that total focus just to get in there. You know, I've got a couple friends that just, you know, you don't even talk to Dad when he's about to play or any of that, you know. But for us, there was so much that was lost out on. I mean, it was difficult with the transitions too, going from home back to work, on the road and back home. It's insane. And, you know, people didn't know, you know, who's this guy walking in here? He's still got game face on or something. So involving the family for us only made sense to make it a one big congruent thing, because whatever happens here affects family, and whatever happens at family, you bring it to work no matter how much you want to shut the door on it. So getting them all involved, it's like, hey, you know, it's great to ask your kid, you know, what does Dada do? And he can say, you know, Dada goes to play rock and roll, you know. It's not, well, Dada sits on the couch, you know. He goes away for a while, then comes and sits on the couch, you know. It's good to know, yeah, to know what, you know, what they do.
Has it changed your music, you think, at all?
Totally. Yeah. It's
How does it change it?
well, it's made the music become, well, it's a lot more relaxed. When you could be relaxed in your environment, I know when my kids or wife would show up, I'd get so tense, like I didn't know how to act. You know, I was this big scary rock guy, you know, and okay, my wife's here, and I'm not scary to her, and you know, how do I react to certain things? It's like now they just show up, and I'm just me. You know, here's Dad playing some songs, and the kids want to come in and twiddle some certain knobs. It's okay. Some they can't touch, but
These are off limits, you know.
But just to get them involved in, you know, the like the controller especially, you know, like not big scary buttons or it's like some big intimidating thing. It's just like, want to get them incorporated in it too and make them feel safe.
Yeah, I can see that in athletics too, because that you find all the time, when you read about some kind of domestic problem, it's that tension. They're out there trying to kick the shit out of each other, and then they go home, and how do you handle a problem?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Unless if you're blocking yourself off either side, I would see that as one of the reasons for that.
Makes sense. It's almost being schizophrenic in a way. You've got two lives you're living, and the more you try and keep them separate, the more lost I knew I became. So I can understand how athletes can't just shut the game off, or they can't just shut off the. And my wife puts it a different way, but you always get whatever you want. At work, you're snapping your fingers and this and that happens, and then you get home and it's like, what? Are you talking to me?
I'm the head coach here.
Yeah. So just shutting, that transitional point, and I can see how a lot of, musicians and a lot of players just they've got that frustration and not knowing how to make that transition, and they still got maybe some resentments or some pent up stuff from work, and they bring it home, and they take it out on people that don't deserve it.
Have you had a criticism that you're becoming too much of a normal guy and the music's not as intense or whatever?
I've heard since day one, you're not angry enough anymore, or, wait, don't become too healthy, or, don't understand yourself too much, and it's so crazy. And I started to believe that wow, if I'm not, the oldest teenager in rock and roll, I can't write music or I can't perform well, and it's just simply not true. The more I learn about myself, the more confidence I have of what gifts I do have and what to do with them. And, if I need to go back to, I have no problem turning into the pissed off 17-year-old. It's kind of coming into now, it's a little more difficult. But in the songwriting, you asked about, the kids, and they've influenced it quite a bit, and they've shown me how to just be me and a lot more natural. And I've learned a lot from my kids, a lot. And when I became a dad, I thought I better know everything, and teach them. But boy, they're teaching me how to be a dad, which is awesome.
I noticed when you were playing in the parking lot, it's still that Metallica hard edge, antisocial, fuck the world, I'm going to slaughter everybody in my path. But it was being done with such joy, because you're there in the parking lot of a Raiders game. I mean, was that like such a different feeling from just an ordinary concert to be surrounded by the Raider Nation, and it's like your hobby and your job all of a sudden.
Right. Well, it is all kind of one. This is a hobby for me too, playing music, and when there are times when it's a job, and that's okay, because it's not, it can't be all easy all the time. But yeah, playing the Raider parking lot, it was a dream come true. It was, I even said on stage, on the trailer, that, hey, look, Mom, I'm finally playing for the Raiders, And when I was in high school, there was a real crossroads for me. I played high school football, and one summer I discovered music, and my hair instantly grew 6 inches. And then I showed up for practice the next season, and the coach said, anything sticking past your helmet, it's off. And I just didn't understand that. It's like, well, how can I be rock and roll and a football player? I didn't know I had to make a choice, but I did. I just said, I'd rather not play second string tackle, when I wanted to be Fred Biletnikoff, I'll play music, and that was the choice I made. And then, of course, Mom said, cut your hair to get a job and all the other stuff.
But then you hung in there long enough that there you are playing on the flatbed in the parking lot.
So cool how it come back together somehow. And it was, I was so grateful for that day. It was probably one of the happiest days of my life. In Metallica playing the parking lot was was so Metallica. It was, you know, I couldn't see, not to put anyone else in a different bracket, but I couldn't see Bon Jovi or someone playing a parking lot. You know, that it seemed so real, you know, to us, playing a halftime thing, and it's a whole nother stratosphere. It's like, it's TV, you know, it's like it's almost BS in a way. You're lip syncing and all that stuff. We were in the parking lot playing for the people that we feel we belong with, you know, and you know, the Raiders making it to the Super Bowl, and then going to the Super Bowl and then seeing the ultimate of corporate kind of schmoozing snottiness. It was crazy, man. I was so I had goosebumps all over me that we were at the Super Bowl. And I told myself I wasn't going to any Super Bowl until the Raiders make it. And then I show up there and I'm sitting in this section where the guys behind me are saying, "Hey, down in front, sit down." It's like, what? And I was looking at my buddy saying, "No way, this is not."
One of those Metallica, like the.
Oh, I wouldn't even turn around, man. Give him any satisfaction. No, yeah, that was sit down and be quiet, and it was strange. You couldn't even tell who was rooting for who there.
But fortunately, you didn't have to stand up that much at that particular game.
Wow, wow! I stood up the whole game, man. I had to help somehow.
Hoping, yeah.
But I'm thinking, you know, I would love to take some credit for the AFC Championship game. You know, we went out in the parking lot, pumped the fans up, pumped ourselves up, and you know, that's maybe my little fantasy that I helped them win that. But that was an awesome moment in my career.
Yeah, I just had this vision of the Raider Nation out there cooking their sausage, and they're hearing something that. Well, that doesn't sound like a radio anywhere. And then they're looking around, and then they look over, and there you are on the truck.
You know, we really wanted to do it guerrilla style, where we just roll in, play, and then take off. You know, we've done it a couple times before, at Tower Records when we were like a record release party. But there's no way. I mean, just getting into the parking lot just to park is tough enough. You know, let alone sneak in and out playing a gig.
It was close though. I mean, it was stripped down.
It was as close as. Yeah, I think we found a great meeting point with all of the powers that be. I was pretty surprised that the NFL let us do that. You know, if the word got out, the fans, you know, might have clogged the veins of getting in. You know, so we kept it pretty quiet, and in this day and age, it's pretty difficult. You know. But it was so cool. It was so cool. At the Super Bowl, there was an older lady, she's in her, I'd say mid-50s, older to me.
Yeah.
Was I'll be there soon. She showed up and said, "That gig in the parking lot was awesome. Me and my son were moshing the whole time." It's like, wow, how cool was that? You know, it's like generations of football fans getting together, enjoying music together too, and you know, it was it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
What is this? Is that light behind it or something?
That thing. Well, this is kind of my personal space here. This is where I come in to do.
What are you looking for, Abe? You need it?
Hey, can you give me the eyepiece heater?
Well, each one of us have our own kind of individual getaway space, and we kind of, you know, decorate it to what our tastes are and what makes us feel pretty good inside and outside. And I like cars, and it kind of shows. This is a piece a friend of mine did. It was a consignment piece. I got a '63 Lincoln Continental. I call it the Dead Kennedy, which is probably not the nicest thing to call it, but yeah, I had him popping out of the graveyard where all the other dead presidents. So you know, "Roll Dead Kennedy, Roll." That was one of our songs. I don't know if it's going to make it on the record, but it's still a pretty cool piece. That's me in there cruising around, and you know,
maybe we ought to have that on this film. If you're not going to put it on the album, that's got to be released somewhere.
It'll come out, believe me. Nothing. Oh yeah, there's B-sides, there's EPs, there's stuff. But this is where I do my vocal warm-up tape. and kind of just get my head ready for going down there, and certain ritualistic things that are not unlike sports guys that need to not step on the foul line, or do click their heels 3 times or put their socks on a certain way. A vocal warm-up tape helps, even though it doesn't sound like it right now. And then just kind of vibing. I like drawing, and that kind of gets me into a creative mode also. And then just hop down there and can grab the mic and go for it.
What kind of superstitions do you have? Because football players are so great with that. Like everybody has their own. They invent them. It's not like there's a cliche of superstition, because this all comes from your background. Everything is there's something that's so distinctive with the way you do it.
Well, yeah, I'm a little less superstitious. I think it's bad luck to be superstitious, actually. But I had on the last few tours, actually we were doing stadiums, and on the way to the stage, I'd always kind of rub my feet in the dirt and kind of get some of the local grass or local dirt on my feet, because, a lot of times you're just walking from, airplane to limo to stage, and it felt good to get dirt on my boots. And then we went indoors in the snow and everything. It was kind of a little more difficult. So I had our wardrobe girl. She'd go out every day and have her little cat box and a trowel, and she'd dig up some local dirt and bring it and set it in the hallway. So on the way to the stage, I'd kind of get in it, and it was really silly.
Well, when you say it, but you fully believe it, and whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Right.
It's like we call it when the offensive linemen, when they come out 3 hours before anybody else, and these big, 400-pound guys are walking around. We call it grazing, because they're not doing anything. They're doing the same thing. They're stepping on the turf that they're going to play on, and they're grazing like cattle.
That's funny.
And that's what makes them feel comfortable. You don't see the wide receivers out there. It's always the offensive linemen somehow. They have to, ground themselves, put their
makes sense.
Put their feet in the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
So you should continue to do that. I like that one. I particularly.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, I want to talk you out of that one.
The funnest part is making the wardrobe girl go out in 20-degree weather and dig up some dirt. Yeah. She's got to uncover 3 feet of snow to get some dirt.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, let's go down and you can show us the guitar room.
Yeah.
That's a real plus to have your own space. So, it's a team game, but you got to get away too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, phone calls or whatever, or you got family that show up and they want. Sometimes kids aren't particularly in a good mood, and you kind of put them in here with the Rugrats on, and they can chill out. But we've tried to fill this place with good memories too. These are posters of old gigs and things. Like some of actually around the corner is one of the first gigs we did. I don't know if this is any of this important to you guys.
This is all important.
Okay,
This
here.
Nerve Center. That's what
All right, this was one of our first tours of the States. This was that was our first road trip, really, with Raven, some band from England, and this was in '83, right when Kill 'Em All, the first record, came out. And
whatever happened to Raven?
Raven are, I think they're. I really don't know.
You might have.
They're not touring with us anymore, but maybe they, they're doing their own thing the way they want to. But for us, that was the first taste of the road. Getting in we didn't even have a tour bus. We had a Winnebago, and all 3 bands and crew, or all 2 bands and crew were in it, and it was a fight for the top bunk. It was a fight for pillows. I mean, it was a fight for everything. It was definitely honed our survivalist techniques. If you didn't fight for it, you weren't going to get it. Shower, towels, food, anything. But it builds character. I mean, paying your dues absolutely does. Coming up in the ranks. Just like farm teams or whatever. College, all of that. You gotta learn the stuff. You can't. There's certain bands that just all of a sudden have instant fame, you know, and you can tell they've got a different attitude. They don't want to work as hard. They don't want to. They don't want to tour. They just want it. You know, they want whatever fame brings them. They don't want to have to work for it, and that's they're missing out on a good part or a good lesson in life, I feel.
Yeah. It's like the great athletes. Like you see Jerry Rice, who trains as hard during the off season as Jerry Rice.
Right.
And with all the greatness he's achieved, he just learned that was necessary. Even if you have the talent to take it as far as you possibly can, he's got to work harder than the schlubs who, you know, don't have the talent.
Right. And you know, for me, having Jerry Rice on the Raiders is awesome. You know, we're always been a great veteran team, and you know, he's a great teacher just by example. You know, you don't really have to say a whole lot, and yeah, it's great to have him. This is one of the this is the first gig we played in Moscow. It was right after the coup that happened over there, and we got to fly in and play. It was in an airfield. It was about probably, you couldn't even count the people, and you know, it was a free gig. So they estimated about 750,000 people, and it was awesome to go over there. You know, I'm a little better at it now, but I never had so many guys hug me, you know. It was a little strange, you know, hugging you and kissing you on the cheek. We love you. We're so glad you're here. And it's pretty amazing to feel that from, you know, especially from, you know, that was the ultimate enemy for me growing up. You know, Russia, Mother Russia was, you know, and it was totally eerie for me going there, standing in Red Square when you know, it was at night, and all of these.
Abe, I wanted to ask you a question right here about